Good evening, and welcome to another enthralling episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your enigmatic and enlightened host, Voice of Doom. Okay. It's getting down to the brass tacks, so I have to tell you some stuff that most people don't know and may get me arrested or taken away by the men in black. But I have to tell you a few things. But before I get to my bottom line, I will talk about the Liberation Day, which we are experiencing, and which the mainstream and the legacy idiots, the scumbags, the total piles of crap that have been running our government for so many decades have been lambasting against, because it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, Orangey announced massive tariffs and protectionist acts to alleviate the trade deficits that we have experienced and put up with over my lifetime. And I don't know a whole lot about economics or macroeconomics or anything like that, but it stands to reason that if there's 200 countries on this planet and we seem to be the only country that gives everything away and gets nothing in return for all we've done, that sooner or later we have to, call in our chits. We have to say, look, we've done all this for you people. You've been absolute ingrates, and you've done nothing but take advantage of us, and our stalwart government has done nothing but make it easier for you. And I've already explained why we're in the pickle we're in economically. It's because of all the greedy damn boomers in the 70s that wanted more and more and more and more until they priced themselves out of the market. They striked and striked and striked over and over again. They wanted more dental, they wanted more medical, they wanted more pension, they wanted more and more. They wanted $50 an hour back in 1974, and they made it to the point where the only way we could keep inflation down is by outsourcing everything to China and Botswana and Rwanda and everywhere else. And that's just the way it's been. And we become lazy and just buying Chinese goods and let the American worker go to hell because they brought it on themselves. So there's no mercy for them. But Orangey's going to try to create tariffs in order to have a level playing field economically, and these countries are going to buckle, and they're already buckling, to make things better, because it's like you're going to pay taxes on everything you import into our country unless you let us import our stuff into your country. And everything could be rosy if there was true free trade on this planet. If we could sell whatever we make in America to every country, and they could sell us their bananas and their avocados and their blueberries and their chips, semiconductor chips, and their champagne to us without duties, then I think the world could be an economically very prosperous place for everybody. Because some places have more bananas than others. Some places have more champagne than others. You don't have vineyards in Texas. So they buy their wine from Washington or from California. I mean, I don't know all the details, but it stands to reason that if everybody could just sell what they want everywhere without any taxes, undue taxes, then we'd be in good shape. So that's what Orangey's doing. Oh, it's going to cause inflation. Yes, it's going to cause inflation. Because you've been buying cheap bikes and cheap toasters and cheap knickknacks and paddywhacks from China for decades. And now if we put duties and tariffs on Chinese products, it's going to cost more. We brought it on ourselves. I saw it coming 45, 50 years ago when I was in high school. It was very obvious. Greed. But it's not so much as the greed of your common worker, union worker, whose unions, corrupt to the bone, always have been, insist on more and more and more and more. So these tariffs are going to have its effect. There's already countries saying we're not going to charge you anymore, and we can start selling our bicycles and our toasters to Vietnam, who probably will enjoy having them. Because say what you want about America, we make better quality stuff. But that's beside the point. I'm going to now tell you something that I've known for many, many, many years, and it's now being exposed on the mainstream. When I say mainstream, I mean Fox and news organizations that aren't totally in the pocket of the Democratic Party, which is a corrupt organization. JFK, all right. Everybody knows that Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot Kennedy. He might have had a gun in his hand, and he might have been in the window of the book depository, and he might have been hypnotized, and he might have been doing whatever he thought he was supposed to do during those deep state days of the early 60s when they were hypnotizing people and they were, programming people to do something or to become patsies. Here's what happened, and I'll tell you why. And this might get me in trouble. Kennedy was set up to be killed because of his policies. Whether it had something to do with Vietnam, or whether it had something to do with organized crime, or whether it had something to do with the deep state, or whether it had something to do with his brother being the Attorney General, who was going to get to the bottom of things. He was set up to be killed. And the JFK movie by Oliver Stone explains how he was set up. But here's how it happened. Now, I became a Buddhist in 1987. when I moved to California. And this Buddhist organization did not have any political agenda. They were apolitical. And they had no dog in any fight. They had their moral standards, and they believed in the law of cause and effect. But for some reason, I went to a meeting, and they were showing a video in that meeting, which had nothing to do with Buddhism. And what it showed, I don't know how the Japanese government got it. I don't know how it happened. But this was before AI. It was before Photoshop. It was before the times when people could just manipulate images to make you believe whatever they want you to believe. And it showed very clearly that shots rang out in Dealey Plaza, and the driver turned around, pulled out a gun, and blew off the head of John F. Kennedy. And then sped off to the hospital. And that's it. That's how it happened, and that's how it was. And they may not get to the bottom of that, but they're getting close. They're on the fringes of what happened. And luckily nobody watches my YouTube channel, so nobody will know anything about what I'm saying. But that's who killed Kennedy. His driver was a plant, whether he was with the CIA or whether he was hypnotized, I don't care. It shows very clearly in this video, which was grainy footage. It wasn't anything manipulated. The driver blew his head off. So I'll leave you with that, and you can think about that for a while, but that's how things happened, and I don't know why it takes somebody like me to explain it to you. And maybe I'll have a knock on the door in the next couple of hours, and you'll never see me again, but it can't be much worse than my life is now. So I'll leave you with that, and have a good night. See you later. I'm glad to tell you the truth. Goodbye. Maybe forever.